So if you decide that you're going to go from Coaldale direct to Hawthorne Airport, you've got to fly the Moore. So those Moores are going to kill you in our aircraft because we don't have oxygen, and well, in the summer you're not going to make it.
We'll have to ask the end of that question about
Yeah.
Moore. Got to fly the Moore.
What's G again? That's GPS.
Welcome to Instrument 101.
Well,
Okay.
it's been like 5 years.
I have an airway here. This airway stretches down. See right here, the distance between these VORs is 183 miles, right? They're both high altitude VORs, and I have an MEA of 14,000 feet. What's my VOR service volume at 14,000 feet?
No,
40 miles. What's 40 plus 40?
80.
What happened to the other 103 miles? Okay, so in your AIM, if anybody has a name, anybody have a name? Nobody has a name. AIM, chapter 1. On the page that shows you, it's like page 3 or 4, it shows you the VOR service volumes. Subpart C says, published VOR service volumes do not apply to published IFR routes or procedures.
So why do they want you to know when you go?
They are off-route service volumes is what they are. That's why. So if you want to, you can do direct-to navigation on VORs, but you have to know your service volumes so that you can use them. They're off-route service volumes. All of the IFR published routes and procedures have been test flown, so they know whether they were able to pick up the signal or not. So you're going to see this all the time. 183 miles, 40 and 40, what the? Okay, they test flown, it works.
We're back to 26.
So, yep, so that's what they are. And that's why on the check ride, your students will get asked, and you will get asked on your double I check ride, what are the service volumes. So make sure you know those. And why? Because they are off-route service volumes. If I'm off-route, I need to know if I can use that VOR or not. Now, let's talk about reality. I would just tune it in, listen for the ID, and as long as I got an ID and my needle's not acting erratic, I trust it.
Do you think the examiner would accept that answer?
You know, I don't know. But that's what the But that's what the FAA written test says, isn't it? How do you know if you have acceptable VOR coverage? I can tune it in, I can get the Morse code. Anyway, whatever. Okay. Back here real quick. Right here, black triangle. Most triangles white. Compulsory reporting point if
you don't have radar.
if you're not in radar contact. Okay? Funniest thing I ever heard was our little friends down in Spanish Fork. They were flying back, and all of a sudden he clicks on the radio. HEC, this is I won't use his tail number, but anyway, this is Mr. Me and reporting Delta. Roger, I show you 5 miles past Delta. Oh yeah, sorry sir, we missed that one. Roger, I got you in radar contact. It looked like a total idiot. It was awesome. Anyway, only report those if you're not in radar contact.
Pretty cool to see other people suffer.
I haven't been there, so it was fun.
Was it the main? Was it the main guy?
No.
Did you do it once? It's
You
somebody
can't
after
fit the
you.
main guy in there.
I just came on a 737.
Don't put that on YouTube.
Oh.
$100 Ron Kelvin.
Oh well.
It's okay. He'll be watching it and be so busy taking notes he won't even know you're on himself.
All right, what's this broken Hershey bar?
Breaking navigation.
What is it? Broken? Broken what again?
Broken Hershey bar. That is an MEA gap. That means that at 12,000 feet, I may get my needle kind of cut out for a minute, come back on. All I got to do is just hold my heading. It's going to come back on. Don't worry. It's alerting me that there's some terrain in the way that does cause some erratic signals. It's acceptable. You're going to have good enough navigational coverage, but when that VOR needle kind of turns off for a minute, don't worry. It's normal. Okay? It's because of terrain. MAA, maximum authorized altitude. Two purposes. The first purpose is so that I don't pick up 2 VORs at a time. Okay, if I get high enough, I potentially could pick up 2 VORs at the same frequency. The other reason, and this is the more popular reason that you're going to see, is because they don't want you interfering with like an approach path into a main airport. So they want you to fly lower and stay under that approach path, and so they'll give you an MAA, maximum authorized altitude.
So interfere with an approach path, you said?
Yeah, it'll interfere with either an arrival path or an approach path, something. So they want to keep you below other traffic. That's the main reason they use it these days. There are a couple that are for VORs, but not very many. Right here, GPS. GPS waypoint. It's that awesome little star. There you go.
What's it for?
What?
GPS waypoint, but what is it
It's
used
a
for?
waypoint.
When they put them on here, it's a lot of times it's because it has something to do with, once you pull out your approach chart, you'll see that it's so that you can kind of connect the two together. So there's a lot of points that they'll put on these charts. Sometimes you're like, why is that point there? When you pull out the approach chart for an airport, you're like, oh, it's so that I know where that is in
I
relation
didn't know
to,
it just by chance one day you were over Waddle and that's where you reported.
just in case you wanted to waddle.
Got it today.
This is one of my favorite charts for names, by the way. You got waddle, you got moron, you've got weasel. We looked at weasel a minute ago. I think this is the one that
Down
has.
south into St. George, there's a
High top.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, jet lag.
Oh no, did you guys hear about the St. George one? Can you pause your video?
He's gonna be editing
Is it really
anyway.
pause?
Yeah.
Can you really edit it?
Yeah.
Can you edit that other part out?
Yeah, I totally will.
macaque.
M-O-C-O-C or something. It says Mocock. An Evans student clicks on the radio and goes, "Can we get direct my cock?" Controller goes dead silent. You know he's just busting out. After about like 2 minutes, he comes back on and he's like, "Roger, you are cleared direct. MoCAC." They were like, you hear people in the background, ATC laughing.
You know someone took that tape home that night.
Alright.
I've been like, that's what she said.
Alright. So there you go. But there are some fun intersections. They put the drunk intersection right over Ted Kennedy's house. If anybody knows that story.
Wow.
So anyway, all right. Difference between a blue and a green airport. Blue airports have instrument approaches. Green airports do not. Okay. Also, blue airports are in capital letters, so that if I'm using a red light in a cockpit, I can still pick it out that it's an IFR airport. Lowercase on the VFR airports. Okay? So that's how I tell the difference without colors, by the capital letters. Okay, on my airport detail, on the bottom, right here I've got my identifier. My next number is 45.
Longest runway in town.
That is the elevation, 45 feet.
Elevation, then longest.
Then longest runway. This one throws everybody off because we're used to flying out here. Are you okay? We're used to flying out here where we're used to seeing this. We're used to seeing all 4 digits for the altitude. When you get out to sea level though, you're only going to have 2 digits. It's literally 45 feet. Okay? So this one's 2,660 feet, longest runway 4,700. So identifier, elevation, longest runway. Just like on the VFR charts, same order. Okay? I've got a smooth circle airport. Smooth circle is?
What does the S mean?
What's the S after the runway length?
Oh, you want an S? Answer my question first.
Yeah.
It's a military airport.
It's a military airport. Just remember, it's smooth like a handcuff because if you land there, you will be leaving in handcuffs.
They have military airports without instrument approaches, I guess.
Well, I'm glad you asked that.
Can't tell you.
And it says smooth green. And
What's that smooth green airport? That's a military airport without instrument approaches.
Alright.
Right there. All right, and then S.